very delighted to see that some of you were using our branding when you did your reports. I saw the crown. You were using the crown. Yeah? Who of you have got those branding elements on your computers? How many have that? You have that? You have. You guys. You've got, I saw it on your report.
Which one? Just
Crown.
okay.
Crown. Do you know what the pin, the crowns on the pin are all about?
Yeah.
What are they? What are they? Tell me quick.
The suffering Christ and the victorious Christ.
Yeah. So there's a crown of thorns and there's the kingly crown, right? So the one, the simple way to explain it is the one says Jesus is my savior, so I'm grateful and I give because I'm grateful. And the other one says Jesus is my Lord, my King. So I submit everything to him. And I'm under the, this is another way to say it, it's the breaking in of the rule of Christ into the life of the worshiper. So the King, Jesus as King, means everything belongs to him in the first place, and I acknowledge that and I worship him with everything that I have. Then of course the crown of thorns symbolizes everything he does for us. So this is a very good conversation piece. I encourage you to wear your pin when you travel and whatever. It's quite a pretty little pin. Sometimes people ask you what it's about and what it means. And it's a good conversation starter. So I like to wear mine. Well, I'm not wearing it today, I apologize. But this is the bookmark that we hand out. If we're at a convention and we're handing out the pins, we always hand out the bookmark as well because that explains what it's all about. So don't hesitate to do that. So, talking about the rule of Christ, we have developed an actual ruler as our symbol. If you go up to the offices, you see the ruler with our name sign. We were thinking of this, okay? Tithe is 10%, so it's a certain length on the ruler. Offerings is, we can hope for 10%, may not be another 10%, but it's as much as you would like to give. It's here. So, but really what stewardship is a whole life sacrifice. So it's the whole 9 yards. It's the whole, as the Americans would say. It's the whole ruler. So we actually devised a ruler as the symbol for giving everything to Jesus. So some of our, all of our headers on the website, in our magazines, on our emails, and on our signature, it's all this symbolism. And our slogan is my all in response to God's all. So I just wanted to explain that to you and say that at the end we will be giving you all a stick, I call it a memory stick, here I call it a jump drive, with everything on, including the branding images. So this is a little video that we have. If you make television programs, you can use it at the end of the program, at the beginning of the program, on your PowerPoints. It looks nice and professional. You don't have to use it. We're not forcing this branding. But why do we have brands? Those of you have been in marketing.
Better ask Christina, she's the brand master.
Well, so that people can very visually at a glance perceive, have a quick perception of something and understand something very deep and meaningful.
And also, if we're working together on a brand, it brings people to one place. So, let's take for example, if I have a Facebook page and you have a Facebook page and you have a Facebook page and you have a Facebook page, I've got over 700 friends, so that's like already too many for me. So, and you have, well, Marcus has got 10,000 followers on Twitter, so we're not going to compare with him. But I don't know how many friends you have on Facebook. But if we all had one place where people came to, where all our friends came to, that would bring many more people to that place. So, for example, the GC Communication runs a website, a Facebook page, which really, really brings a lot of people. And she finds that she can put stuff up from family ministries, for example, or from stewardship. And when she puts that up, people, the many people who come to that one place can then share, and it becomes exponential sharing. So branding, having some kind of common identity, even eventually some kind of common place to be online, even if it's just for a specific purpose, where we have our individual things elsewhere, that makes a lot of sense. So I think we need to do a lot of thinking about that and a lot of talking about that and try to come together in terms of our branding and where we are online. So the header I've explained, sorry, that's our previous team, and we're going to get a photo shoot done as soon as we can with our new team. But teamwork is essential. Let's get to know each other, keep in touch. We became a family. We really did become a family, and it was lovely. And I think we are constructing another family right now, and it's a lovely time to create a nice big extended family here all around the world. So let's post pictures up on our stewardship Facebook pages. Let's put interesting little stories and anecdotes of when we've traveled and interesting, heartwarming things that have happened when we've traveled and when we've met people. Let's put that up. It bonds the family together. Okay. So I just quickly want to go over some of the electronic resources we have, and I'll go through the printed materials as well. Essentially, I think in the past, the GC thought of themselves as a resource development center for the world field. Am I right? Yes.
Yeah, we developed a lot of material.
And we still do. I just think that the world field, the children have grown up. And sometimes they can teach the GC a lot more than we think they can. And also, it's good if they do that because they know what their field needs. I'm not saying we need to preach a different message or have a different focus. I'm saying we need to contextualize the message for that field. So I'm all too eager to hear what you're doing. Please let us know. Whatever you're doing, just keep in touch and let us know. We'll help you where we can, even if it's in terms of advertising, distributing, or implementing. Please just let us know what you're doing. Because I don't think it's the case anymore that the GC really needs to impose our resources on the field anymore, although we would like to do something as well. The Dynamic Steward is something that has really been the flagship resource. It's been the regular quarterly journal. I've handed you each one of these and one of these. But we've had so many over the time that I've been here. Larry Evans was the editor, and I was the assistant editor, and Janetta was the editorial assistant, and we worked together on it as a team. We didn't really write for it much. Larry was just very good at finding people who knew how to write on specific topics. So we did all the aspects of stewardship that you can think of within our particular focus at my all-in response to God all. It's online at issue.com/dynamicstewards. I forgot to put that up here. So that's where it is online now, but it is going digital. And when I say digital, I don't just mean it's on a website somewhere where you can read it. It's going to become an app on a mobile phone. So this, you will not be reading it. Perhaps we'll still print some, but you'll be reading it on your mobile device. And it'll be fully interactive. It will have video content, and maybe you'll be starring in that video content for the first edition. So I want to show you what we're planning to do with it. And Pastor Marcos and Pastor Lisa, I actually would like you just to watch this little clip. If you haven't seen it before, I think I may have shared it. If in case you haven't, this is what we have already purchased in terms of the app for the DS, and this is what it can do. I hope this will play now. Right. So
I wanted a digital issue of the magazine immediately.
To be able to launch a new product and experiment with the digital space is like stepping into the future, and Adobe has really helped us do that. The digital publishing suite is very easy to incorporate into our existing workflow because we're already using all of these products.
One of the reasons we're excited about this new digital experience is that we can be out in the garden with our reader. We can be in the kitchen. For example, in the phyllo story, the reader can decide to open and close the phyllo and see what's inside. And we worked very closely with Adobe on creating the scrolling recipes and the scrolling ingredients list, very conscious of how the reader will be in the kitchen cooking.
We have a strong and very identifiable brand. It's the same magazine, but 100 times different because of the ability to utilize all the great programming that Adobe has developed and to use all.
So it means your dynamic steward can be more than just editorial. You could have little mini video clips in there embedded in
And
places.
interactive stuff and augmented reality and all kinds of stuff. So when you click on something.
The great techniques that the camera world has developed for us. I think that advertisers will see the real value in being able to put commercials in a magazine like this. You can't do that in print, and you can do it in digital.
We engage our reader by using beautiful immersive photography. And I think the cover as the flower is opening is the one where everybody goes, "Oh!" The other thing that people really love is the whole idea of the panorama, whether it's the Alaskan glacier panorama or Martha's Garden panorama, that feeling that you're discovering something as it's happening.
It's pretty impressive to be able to see a large swath of the farm where I grow my peonies, all 770 of them.
Lucinda Scala-Quinn, the head of our food department, did an incredible story in Alaska this summer with our longtime photographer, Christopher Baker, who used one camera to shoot both still and video. And they brought home a story that the reader can enter on many, many levels and feel as though they're completely engaged in this unbelievable story.
Here's one of my favorite stories. It's the makeup story. We take Aisha step by step through her rather simple and elegant makeup transformation. You can't do that on the printed page in any way like that. This is a change, but it's a good change. It's a change, I think, that will enable people to access our type of information where and when they want to access it.
If they want a print magazine, we will deliver a print magazine. If they're comfortable on a digital device or a mobile device, we will deliver it there.
The Adobe Digital Publishing Suite is incredibly important to Martha Stewart Living, and it will speed up our productivity ultimately in going to the next realm of many more publications in digital.
I think that with each issue, with the added knowledge and technology and the new innovation that Adobe and others are going to create, we're going to be able to make even more extraordinary issues. This is just the beginning, and I think it's a very good beginning.
Right, okay. So this is such new technology. The review is starting with it. I think this is their first edition that they've got actual videos up for on the app. So Adobe is actually still trying to make the software where you will put your information together. Well, DPS puts, and it's changed name already. It's called Experience Managing something, EMI now, not DPS anymore. But that's the place that puts your stuff together and says what will happen when you've scrolled up and you get to the end, where's it going to go next, and it formats it for you. But the other stuff where you will put your stuff together, which is HTML, there's several platforms and none of them are quite sufficient yet for that. So we're riding the wave with them and we're trying to get on board. So we really will be working a while to get this going. But yeah, what it says is that we don't have to limit our content and we don't have to only bring it out once a quarter. When there's a story to tell, we can put it up immediately and it can tell the story. So we can put stuff up continuously and engage our viewers all the time. So essentially it can be one platform that we can all contribute to. We can have it in different languages. There's no space limit. So it's fabulous. I just want to introduce this to you, and that's what we're going to be doing with the DS, and hopefully we can collaborate on this very important step into the digital world. Not instead of, but alongside the print world. Okay. Right, so where was I? Right. I just went away. Okay. So, come on, there we go. Done that already. Oh, sorry. Yeah. The online conference you all received in your bag, it looks a little different. It's thinner than this. It's the bags that Janessa gave you with the flashlights in them had this full set. They're 4 DVDs, but we actually have them on Vimeo. And this is the link, and the links are on those little blue cards over there, which you should give out to people and use them for training. This is what the Vimeo site looks like, and you can scroll down there, 96 videos. So that's 20, you see there up to 16 pages down here of video. Why don't I play one of them? Will you let me? These are the videos that Pastor Bumpkin was
I
talking
have
about.
chosen to entitle my presentation Stewardship, God's Call to Activity.
Okay.
The concept.
So he was saying how helpful they are to for stewardship education. We do take some time and have a look at them sometime and see if they'll be useful anywhere where you're doing stewardship training. There are a whole different selection of topics within stewardship. I mean, we had Dr. Davidson come up from Andrews University to talk about stewardship of the environment, and it's the most beautiful theology you can ever hope to hear. And then Erika did a lot of training about offerings and tithes and whatever. And Larry reported on the focus groups he did with the kids. There's just so much there. Mario is on there. We had trust services there. We had Katie Beagles there talking about stewardship education. We had Janice Matthews there talking about how important it is to teach stewardship to children. So there are 24 individual presentations of half an hour each. It includes a question panel at the end where people actually, it was live online. If you're looking, I think it's this one. Some of you have this. I didn't have enough for everybody. This one has the report. And as I just want to acknowledge James, Daniel, and the IAD. The IAD were the ones who came to us with the idea. So all credit to them. And their technical team really helped us. And then we got other partners, the news page. We got other partners that included Hope Channel, GC Communication, then obviously the IAD and GC. And then we got so many translators to come in. We were translating it into 3 languages simultaneously and broadcasting it live. So it was quite a technical operation. But with the help of GC Stewardship and Hope Channel, with the streaming side, we managed to reach, as James said earlier, 83 countries. We know we had close to 5,000 log-ons, and we got pictures from people, which we received on Facebook as we were talking to them, where we could see a hall of about 200 people at a time. So there were, who knows how many people. I mean, I'm sure some individuals sitting in their pajamas watching it somewhere across the world, but sometimes there were whole groups of people watching it. Now, the interesting thing is that the whole team, the GC stewardship team, all of those who traveled, the entire quinquennium reached 86 countries, and at all the cost of the travel budgets for those 5 years. Now, for a meager $20,000, we reached 83 countries and 5,000 tons, who knows how many people, in one weekend. So that's stewardship in itself.
Yes.
Using technology is good stewardship because it maximizes your reach. So I want to support my new director on his focus to use technology everywhere you can. Purely because it's efficient and it's very good stewardship. So I don't have to go back to that again. Okay, there I was. But that's just another example of collaboration. A division came to us with an idea, and we said, yes, we'll support you, and we got on board with them and helped them, and they helped us. Because Jose was extremely helpful. I mean, they do the streaming all the time. And now that we're into this sort of thing, we're now set up. We have the edit suite in my office. We have, and which I've put on, which will be on this flash drive for you. It's, I don't know if you noticed the crown and the set in the background. That was a real set we built, but we also had a virtual set made at the same time, worked into the price of $20,000. So that's there for you. It's got the wide angle. It's got the, you know, from the right, from the left. It looks. You can make it look like you've got a 3-camera shoot going on. So you can put somebody on a green screen and do a presentation, whether it be a 2-minute clip or whatever, and have proper branding behind you and make it look professional. So that's available for you to use. That'll also be there. Right, then something I'd like to quickly talk to you about is an app that we were thinking of making. Since the previous game, do you know the game conference?
Yeah.
In the church? It's Global Adventist Internet Network. They come together every year. Communication department, the GC hosts it. They also have regional ones. So you guys have a lot in IAD because they're very technologically minded. Try to come to that. That's a great place to network and to. They're very creative people, and you learn you have all kinds of ideas on how to forward your mission online, and in all kinds. That's a really. If I were to choose one conference to go to, I would go to that every year, and I do. I'm probably an idea born there. I suddenly thought, what if we had everybody on their mobile apps already there for other reasons, good reasons, like how to track your exercise in the morning. You know, you have these health trackers, and have that part of the app, and then you have information about nutrition. If you're dieting or you're trying to eat more healthy food, you could gamify these things and give people points if they eat more than 3 portions of vegetables a week, or just have little things like that, and have a devotional section. So when you wake up, you could go onto this thing and read your Revived by His Word or Believing Prophets initiative right there on your app. And then after all of that, and then have a buddy system or social aspect to it, so you can link to your social media there also, because people are going to do it anyway. And then at the end of that, have a giving section. So not everybody in the world is giving, right, who are Adventists. Sometimes because they don't want to, but many times because they're not earning yet, either because of age or employment. But they do all these other things. They have to eat, they have to do their devotions, they have to take care of their health, they connect with other people. So we thought of having this a kind of an app that's a holistic app from the stewardship department, and also add the facility to give, so that when they are ready to give, they're already there. It's just another click away. And somebody I was speaking to who's in the building, he works here, is a millennial, and he was saying he can guarantee us that he's discussed this at length with his friends, his young friends who are earning a lot of money, and he says just in the US there are millions, literally millions, that are not being collected in tithes because there is no convenient electronic way to give. They don't want to go online. When the offering plate comes around in church, they want to go click on their mobile and they want to have given. And that's what got us thinking about this. Then I spoke to Christina, and lo and behold, they said there's nothing new under the sun. So if you think you've had an original thought, forget it. You haven't. The SPD has already had an app, and she will probably tell us about this in her report, so I won't say too much. And they've been rolling it out for some time already, and they've seen improved trends in giving, and that's all I'll say. So then I spoke to the IT people down here, and Nancy Lamoureux is very supportive. At the GAIN meeting, it became very clear that the GC information technology department is becoming a facilitator. They want to build platforms that everybody can use around the world. They don't just want to build something and then impose it on everybody. They want to build things that everybody can be on board in terms of the structure, but still individualize it. So that's very encouraging. If you have any thoughts, ideas, if you're already doing it in your region, just let us know. And I'm not kidding. I mean, I know in Kenya they've been giving offerings via the mobile phone for many years already. What's it called? The M-Pesa?
Yep.
M-Pesa system, where airtime being, what do you call it here? Phone time? Phone credit. You buy, that is actually currency. So you can send money across borders and not have to worry about exchange rates or charges or anything like that. And when the offering plate comes around, you can pay with your airtime. So there are different opportunities in different places because of the technology that's been embraced there. Please let us know about these things so that we don't want to centralize everything, but we want to learn from each other and see if there isn't an efficient way of rolling something out that can really be of benefit in terms of collecting offerings where people are all too willing to give, but they're just a bit lazy and they actually just want it in a convenient way. So that's that. Then we have the website, right? Now this website will probably be updated. It was redone when I first came here. There was money budgeted to have it redone. I felt that at the time that we need to do something beautiful. So we did, all these motion graphics with the crowns and everything. Because I think one thing we often forget about in terms of who God is that God is beautiful. And beauty attracts. We get so stuck in the mechanics of structures and processes and doctrines that we forget about the beauty of God. And sometimes we just need to step back and look at that peony flower opening and go, like she said on the video, and just be in awe of God. So, but I don't know that we've traditionally focused on reaching the trainers and the educators. But now I think we're beyond that stage. We want to go directly to the church member, and if not the general public. So this has been structured for trainers, but also for people who stumble across it. For example, here's a little portal with some really old videos that were made years and years ago with stewardship testimonies, and you can actually add your story there. And somebody has, in fact, added a story there once upon a time. But we don't get too much traffic there, so we need to work on getting more exposure and more visitors and more traffic through our website. So because of the work, the facilitation that's happening in the building with Nancy Lamoureux being on board now, in charge now, I think we'll be able to do that with our website. But I'm pretty sure that some of you have much more efficient websites, actually, in terms of traffic and through the door. So, but do go there. There's some interesting stuff hidden away there that you need to probably look at. This will change. We've actually had people's, if you click on an area, oh, we've got your photo there already. Janetta, you're right up there. She's got the new director there already. Very good. So, there we go. Wow. Excellent. Okay. Thank you, Janetta. So if you click on this, you go to that division's website or that division's stewardship website, right? So I don't know that that one is linked yet. But for example, if there was one there, we'd go to, well, you might need to tell us which link you want there. Because we want essentially for people to come here and then if they need to go to their region, to be able to reach you over there. And this is our resources page. It's got everything. Just click on everything. Okay. And much of it's downloadable. We really do want people to translate the stuff. I'll talk about that over there. Right, so we have our Facebook page. Janetta, what did we put up there? We put up the tithe and offerings readings on a Thursday night. So the elders can actually just go there and get it right off the page. But of course it's in English. There's a daily devotional which we hope to create a stewardship devotional for. We have nature photos going up, little bits of news. We have nature photos going up to try and encourage the stewardship of nature. And you know, when the Stewardship Online Conference was going on, this was invaluable because people use that portal to send their questions in. So we do have a Facebook page. But once again, I think that can still be optimized in terms of reaching more people. We've got Twitter at Dynamic Stewards. You know, if we all started tweeting through that one platform, imagine what a big following we could get. Because that's something that you could just tweet whatever you want to and whichever hashtag you want to tweet on. It doesn't need to be inhibiting in any way. But we might be able to join forces and get a whole big river following us with that. Okay, then the stew pot. Who of you have received a stew pot? Know about the stew pot? That's done by Dr. Gordon Botting in the Northern California, and he's been doing it for years. And he wants to publish a book, so it's not enough that we can really share too easily, but he does allow us to send it to you guys. Quite cool. Right, so then the printed resources. Okay, we try to use the Crown, even just a little bit. I mean, it's not much on the Dynamic Steward, but we have it at the back. I think subconsciously I've always wanted to go digital because we use an iPad on the back of the page as our what was I saying? Yes, Larry Evans. He went to, he wrote me an email and said he did focus groups, 33 focus groups in about 14, how many different countries? I think it's 14 different countries. I know he was in the ECD, he was in the SPD, he was in the EUD, he was in TED, and he was here in North America, and in South Africa, in SID. So he did focus groups with young people about stewardship, and he found out very interesting things about how our young people perceive stewardship and what they do and do not know about stewardship. Some of them didn't even know what stewardship was. And you know, even for me, I've always felt like stewardship is a really old-fashioned word. I wish there was someone had a really bright spot and came up with a whole new word for stewardship. Although it's a very meaningful word and it really describes the belief so well, but it's not a word that people know anymore. And if you ask a young person about stewardship, they'll say, what? What's that? So, and Larry found that out. He also found out that, you know, like with some of the other surveys with adults, that those who did know about it, some of them had the same kinds of reservations that adults had. And he's published his findings. He also did a little training booklet to be used. His main aim for this whole project is intergenerational. He wants to go intergenerational with the teaching and the training. He wants to have an adult standing side by side with a young person, learning together and teaching together. And it was at the implementation phase of that training. They had done all the other work, and they were starting to go around and do this kind of training with an older and a younger person when everything changed because of the session. So, but Larry has already spoken to Pastor Bumpin, and we're very keen to carry on this project because I think it's very valuable for the youth. Once again, if you have any interest in it, in participating in any way, let us know. Some of you are already involved. Let's quickly go through the books, the first, and then we're done. Right, so we don't have many Thanks for Children. I'm really hoping. One of the things we do want to do with the Children's Ministries Department is do a stewardship expo. You know, sometimes they do the health expo with all the little banners, and you go from one station to the next. And for one station, you can have your blood pressure taken, the next station, they teach you about something else. And there's a whole list of activities you can do. We're sort of doing a fun and getting the madman in. What's his name? The guy that talks about dinosaurs. Rich Aguilera. We're sort of getting him to come in and make a really, really fun, exciting expo for stewardship for children. So that's on the back burner with all the changes. This is something we handed out at GC session. It's got the instructions in here. It's my giving planner. It's for a kid to hang behind their bedroom door. They put their photo in here. That's giving myself to Jesus. This is my God's tithe, my offering. Just to plan when they get their pocket money or they earn some money for chores, that they can plan out their offerings, and another one for special projects or to help the poor or whatever. I think it's a very useful little thing, very light and cheap to make, so it can be effective. And then it goes along with a little motivational talk by Janice Matthews. Why, and it's really a very good talk, why it's important to teach children about stewardship. We've got 1 and 2 minute spots, 10 of them, family oriented, about stewardship. This is the kind of thing you could play before the service. We did it with every Canadian family with their really good messages. There was on those and the advertising for that. These, it really is brochures. These can be used as little sermon nuggets or to hand out on the Stewardship Sabbath. Beautiful thoughts in here, very, very nicely made. And you're most welcome to request the artwork and have it reprinted in your region. I've given that to many people already. This is 2 of a series of 3. The third one's still coming. We have them in English and Spanish. 10 tithing questions answered and facts about Christian stewardship. These are bookmarks. Once again, you can request the artwork for that. This is the book I was talking about earlier when we were going to go to the White Estate tour. James Nix wrote this called The Spirit of, what was it? Spirit of Sacrifice? It was a much longer name. But it's about the pioneers and the really drastic sacrifices they made for the work. So I think this is a nice thing even for young people actually, because I mean they were young people. The pioneers were young people. This is more of a devotional reading, although it's not in the devotional style, about the life of Jesus and Joseph. And if ever there were 2 lives who were, examples of the ultimate steward. And this is Brian Cluth's book. He allowed us to adventize it. So he's a very good stewardship speaker, an evangelical Christian in America. But he allowed us to add Ellen White quotes. I think it exists in different languages. So we've got special arrangements with him, but ask us about this. It's actually a devotional, excellent for small groups, like your cell group at church. 7 weeks spiritual journey to a more generous life. And this you really should all read cover to cover. This is Angel Rodriguez's, it's our definitive theology on stewardship. They had a summit, I think it was 1999 or something, down in Tennessee. He presented 3 papers on stewardship, tithes, and offerings. And we really need to know this, just for ourselves.
This
And
is,
our
this
pastors
is the
should
basis of all we are doing. So this is a must-be read book.
Yeah, it's your textbook, it's your homework.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because he has a gift to write and to express himself. So it's really.
He's a brilliant scholar. You couldn't ask for better. Please read it. It was the big blue book, the slim big blue book, just presented in 3 papers, but we've actually made it look like a book with headings and chapters and stuff. This is every dynamic steward we had, and all the directors did it. So maybe one day you will do one too, or maybe you do something else. I don't know. The directors page, the concept article in the dynamic steward. If you want to search the dynamic steward, by the way, go onto issue.com dynamic steward. If you're needing a sermon for Stewardship Sabbath or for wherever you travel, because you'll always be preaching stewardship sermons since you're the stewardship director. There are so many sermons and so many, these articles are phenomenal. They're just really very, very good, sometimes very, very scholarly articles. Excellent sermon material. We should not let this wonderful resource go to waste. The dynamic steward has existed since even before Jeanette was done.
But you're going to be able to, with that interactive Adobe function, you're going to be actually able to categorize back issues into whole hubs of content so that you're not just stuck with an issue segmentation. You can put all the sermons from all of the
We actually
previous
have.
ones
There
together.
were people, believe it or not, that actually took out all the sermons and put them as separate PDF pages on our website. They're still there. When we came, I thought, oh, no, you actually just can't put all that into one line. So we haven't continued. And then we went on to issue.com and we thought if people want to search, for example, stewardship of health, they could just type health into our page and all the references to health would come up. So it is also an easy search function. But yes, the digital one's going to be so much easier. Okay, so anyway, all his concept articles are compiled into one book here. Also good sermon material for your church treasurers, for your church pastors. And this is actually tithing in the right tithings in the New Testament. It's extracted from here. But this would be for the members to read. It's shorter. Right, this was Ben Maxon's stewardship philosophy. If anybody would want to read that.
Actually, a very good summary, that one.
It's a young adult.
Yeah.
Yes, it's for young adults, and you can see because of the design is really millennialist. Very interesting. Very good. Okay, and then promotional stuff we have just our rulers and our pins and things like that. Yes.
The book Get Normal, there were 2 colleges or universities in North America using that on the curriculum in theology.
Wow. Very good. I know that.
2 universities were using the book Get Normal on their theology curriculum.
Textbook.
We've got very good deep stuff. And then something else that's very exciting, it's literally landed on our desk yesterday. Emailed it to everybody. Treasury sent us this gift. But just before the advisory, I contacted Rob McIver from Avondale. And because I remember he did a presentation at the Nurture and Retention Committee once upon a time. And he was saying, he was giving a report on some of the surveys he'd done. And I remember he said that when people are faithful in tithing, they stay in the church. Because you know where you've invested, it's the verse. You know where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So he emailed me back and he said, well, his book is just about to come out, which talks about this entire study, but and that he will send it to us for our use when it's done. The GC commissioned him to do that. In fact, it was Mike Ryan in the missions, global mission, who commissioned him to do that. And strangely enough, didn't involve the stewardship department in any of that. We were none the wiser to what was going on. But anyway, we've been included now. So this landed on my desk, and this is the individual reports on the surveys. I mean, this is a mountain of stuff which is pure gold about the motivational report on survey of motives for tithing among Seventh-day Adventists from 4 conferences on 4 continents. All kinds of surveys to do with tithe and why people give tithe and why they don't give tithe and when they've given tithe and how that affects how they stay in the church or what they contribute. So we'll be getting to you in that regard when we have that material available. So any questions quickly? Oh, one thing is the tithe and offerings readings. And please help me with all the changes that have been happening. We have yet to find an author for the 2017 ones, and we have to have it out to the divisions by June. So whoever wants to write for us needs to write it in 2 months flat so that we can edit it and send it out. And then each division is supposed to have it translated into the relevant languages and get it to the churches, which I think sometimes happens and sometimes it doesn't. If you have an idea, if you know of anybody in your territory who might like to write the next one for us, please do let me know. I will work with them directly. I think there's a small honorarium that goes towards writing that. Right, any questions, any suggestions?
Yeah, it's not a question, but I have 2 suggestions. You recommended us to join the GAIN meeting. I attended it twice. I was richly blessed. And then when I served the Adventist mission, I always mentioned as I trained the missionaries, mission is communication. Also stewardship is also communication. But as I tried to attend the GAIN, but sometimes our administration says that is for the communication department. Therefore, I hope your GC Stewardship Ministry Department request the administration, division administration to send
Encourage them.
stewardship directors to join the GAIN.
Good. Well, all of us in the department here at the GC, we all attended GAIN this time.
Okay.
Usually it was just me going, but we all attended GAIN. And so we're setting the example, and we'd like to have everybody there because you're right, it's about communication.
And then a second suggestion is that we have a lot of materials here, but only they are available for our departmental directors. My suggestion is to send these books to the college and university libraries. We don't have that in the libraries.
We do, we have sent to
Oh,
some.
you do?
Perhaps we haven't sent to all.
Okay.
Please write to me and tell me if you want me to send it to you for the universities.
Okay.
Or do you want us to send it directly to universities?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4 universities and colleges in my
So
division.
we need to send it to you so that you can get
Yeah.
it there safely.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And okay, we've got whatever's on the shelf here is in the boxes. Please help yourself take stuff. But even more efficiently, ask me for the files. Where we do have the files and where we do have the copyright, you're most welcome, with permission, to reprint in your regions, in your languages.
Penny, just a suggestion concerning the languages. Is it possible during this term to producing more in other languages from the GC level? Because we have observed that departments of the GC who are doing that, their materials are reaching more people than we are reaching.
We don't always have the language. We really depend on the divisions for the language aspect. So if we have, that's what we're saying, please take our stuff, translate them We don't have, I mean, Janetta speaks French, I speak English and Afrikaans, my person now speaks, I guess we've got a bigger we've got Indonesian, we've got Afrikaans, we've got if we all stopped traveling and we only translated resources, we could do that.
But we are seeing some other departments, they are outsourcing that.
Yes, I know.
Department of the GC, they are doing that, and when we are asking the division to help us to translate, they are saying, but why you are not receiving in Portuguese or French? The other departments are receiving directly from the GC in these languages.
I think it's a structural, systemic problem, but on the other hand, just speaking economically, the rand dollar exchange rate, 16 to 1, 15 to 1, it's going to be that much cheaper to have somebody in South Africa translate it for us into whatever language, and then we'll print it, but just do the translating work there. You know what I'm saying? So please get on board with us and do what you can to translate things. But even better, come up with the contextualized material that you need to preach this message in your region, in your languages, and then come and say to us, look, we've done this, but we don't have enough money to publish or to do whatever. Then we can talk. But I can't wait to see what you produced in the field. Okay. Good suggestions. Good suggestions. So I feel for you, and I know I would love to be able to translate everything that's produced here into every language on earth. There is a platform, however, for video. That's why it's so good to get into video. I'm sorry. Shoot me somebody so I can stop. There's so much to say. Okay. What was I going to say? There's a platform called Amara. It's a community-based platform. I know that it was used for the Revival and Reformation videos, which I did in Morocco. People who want video material in their language go onto this platform, and the producer, all the producer has to do is upload the video. Then people go and the layers of people, layers of work that people do. Some people just do the transcription in English, so it's available. Then the next person translates that transcription. Then the next person places it as the people are speaking in the video under the picture in the right places. It's completely a community-based thing. You don't pay anything for it. So more and more of these kinds of platforms are becoming available to help us in these last days get everything into every language. So amara.com. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah, today I had 4 interview video clips with Elder Lehman, 2 of them, excellent one, and with Elder Smith, and then Julian. So whoever wants to get, I would like to share. And then you may not invest much time, just introduction and ending. You just put them because they are all in English language.
Okay, thank you, Penny.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your work. I would like to commend you for the work you are doing. Excellent work, so many materials we have. We are thinking about the possibility to have like a multi-language bank of materials.
There you go.
It don't mean that we should have all the materials in our own website. If you store them appropriately in your website, we can have the links in our website so that people who are looking for Korean materials, we can have a room in our website of Korean materials. So the same in Spanish, in Russian, in any other language. So let's think about that. It will be very useful. French. So we will be able to share from many divisions who share the same language. We will be able to share materials. All we do belongs to the church. We must remember that. All we do belongs to the church. So when we are workers and we work for the church, let's produce materials and share with others. So let me take advantage of this time to speak a little more about that. I learned some time ago that the least I highlight my own division, the more this material will be used by the world church. Sometimes I'm so eager to put the name of my division there on this material. And sometimes the name of the division is even bigger than the name of the church itself. So it will be used only in your division. No one will use more. But if you, we must recognize who did the work. But put the name of your division in a small place at side, and it will be used by all the world. So let's try to think in the world, with a world mind.
Hope Channel Director Brad Talk used to say, think global, live local. He's going to produce contextualized stuff for your region, but make it available worldwide in a generic way, like he says. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.